Okay, so we're going to be looking at assignment 3.2, Roman number 1, letter A. This is asking to write your key signatures. A few things. I put some notes on here, so if you want to take a screenshot of that to help you out, that may be good. Let me move this so you can read it. Okay. So one thing to note is right here under order of flats, order of sharps. Every key signature, if it's a flat key signature, is going to follow the same order of flats, meaning the first flat that you'll ever have is a B flat, and then an E flat will be the second one, an A flat, then a D flat, G flat, C flat, F flat. Now, you're never going to have a D flat without an A flat or an E flat or B flat. Okay, so if you have a key signature that only has 3 flats, it has to be B flat, E flat, and A flat. You can't have anything after that. Okay, so it's always going to be in that order. If you have a key signature with 1 flat, it's always a B flat. Okay, it's not going to be a D flat or a C flat or anything like that. Same goes for the order of sharps. Okay, the order of sharps is different. It's going to be your first sharp you'll always have in your key is an F sharp, then a C sharp, then a G sharp, so on and so forth. So if you look here at this first key signature, A major, you notice that it's got 3 sharps. What is it left to right? F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, right? F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. So the order of sharps and order of flats never change. Okay, now here's how you can remember the order of flats. It spells the word bead, greatest common factor. Okay, that's how I learned it. You can come up with your own. That's how I learned it. Order of flats, bead, greatest common factor. Order of sharps, I learned fat cows go down and eat barley. You can come up with your own. Another thing that may help is the order of flats and the order of sharps are complete opposite of each other. So if you read the sharps backwards, it spells bead, greatest common factor. Okay, so these are complete inverse of each other, right? Now that we know what our order is, and it's always going to be in that order, and we put it left to right, so when you're writing your key signature, don't write them out of order, okay? Make it read left to right. How do we know? So this says A major. Because it doesn't have a flat in the name, unless it's a C or an F, and you see this note over here, key of C major has nothing in it, meaning it's all natural, and the key of F major has 1 flat. Anything else that is just a letter name with nothing else in it, it's going to be sharps, okay, with the exception of C and F. So when I see A major, then I know I'm going to have sharps of some kind. How do I know how many sharps? Well, I utilize this. Sharp keys, how do I know what it is? A half step up from the very last sharp is the key. So if this says A major, then all I'll have to do is ask myself, what's a half a step below A? Some may say an A flat. But I don't want an A flat. I want what's the letter name below, which would be a G, and a half step. Okay, so I say, well, what type of G is a half step away from A? G sharp. And so then I say, okay, I know that my last sharp is going to be a G sharp. I go over here and I say my order of sharps, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. So I know I put 3 sharps there. Okay, it's pretty simple if you do it that way. So if it's a sharp key, okay, so I know A is sharp, I know D is sharp, F sharp, obviously, because it's got a sharp in it. Okay, so remember, if it doesn't have a flat, it's going to be a sharp except for F major and C major. Okay, just got to remember those 2 exceptions. So for instance, B major, right? So number 8, B major, and I say, okay, B, it's not a C or an F. Okay, so I know it's a sharp key, and I say, okay, what's a half step lower than B? A sharp. Okay, if you said B flat, you're wrong because I need it to be the next letter name below. So it's got to be an A of some kind, and it's going to be A sharp. You can utilize your piano keyboard to figure that out. So it's going to be A sharp. And then I go up here to my order sharps and I say, okay, it's got to be the last one. So I've got F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, and A sharp. And I have to write all of those, all 5 of those sharps right here on my key signature to get the answer. Now let's move on to flats. The order of flats we already talked about. And so if I have a note, if I have a key signature name that has a flat in the name, then it's going to be a flat key. Also, F major is going to be a flat key. That's going to be its own thing. Okay, we're going to leave that alone for right now. Let's just talk about all the rest of the flat keys. So for instance, if I have B flat major, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to say, okay, my flat keys, my second to last flat is going to be the key. So here's how I figure that out. If I'm looking for B flat major, I'm going to go until I get to the B flat in my order, and then I'm going to go one more. So I'm going to go all the way until I get B flat. B flat's first one. So I'll go one more, E flat. And those are the 2 flats that are in my key. So I'm going to write a B flat and I'm going to write an E flat. And that's what my key is going to be. Now, let's find one that's got a few more. So let's go to G flat major, number 7. So I'm going to say, okay, G flat, that's got to be my second to last one. So I'm going to count until I get to it, and then I'm going to go one more. So I'm going to go B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat. I'm there. Got to go one more, C flat. And those are all the flats that I'm going to use in my key signature. So I've got to write all 6 of those flats right here. And I have to write them in the order that they are there. Now, there is a picture. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I should have had this pulled up. There is a picture of key signatures. I think I can just Google it. That will help you to make sure that you put them in the correct octave. Okay. All right, so if you use this, oops. So if you utilize these key signatures, shows you treble clef and bass clef. Okay. So if you utilize those, it also gives you your answers, but don't use that to just cheat. Like, figure it out the right way, or you're going to have trouble when it comes to taking a test. But this is going to show you what they look like, okay, in both treble clef and bass clef, and it follows a pattern, okay, especially the flats. Okay, you're here, then you go up, then you go down, up, down, okay. You like my sound effects. All right, so sharps are a little bit more weird, but basically you end up with, if you have all of them, 2 at a diagonal, then 3 at a diagonal, then 2 at a diagonal. The flats, they just follow like that. Okay. Now, snap a screenshot of that or just Google it or something like that, just like you saw me do it. Found it in seconds. All right. So utilize, let me get back to my, utilize all of this information to help you solve all of these exercises here. Now, when you get to the alto and tenor clefs, any of the movable clefs, sometimes those key signatures, they're still in the same order, but as far as like the picture that I just showed you of what they should look like, as far as the octaves and things, sometimes they change a little bit. Basically, follow this rule. Well, I was going to say something I'm not going to say now. If you're not sure which octave to put it in, Google it or look in your textbook. Okay. These aren't utilized as often as the bass clef and treble clef. So there's nothing wrong with having to search to find what that is and make sure that you get it correct. All right, guys. Thank you.